everybody's gonna have different situations and different serendipities. So it's not just my parents. Like, I got self-esteem injected from my mom, which is a huge variable, which is why I put her on the huge pedestal. And to your point, not everybody gets that. Somebody may get that later from their spouse. I would argue if my dad was here, he would tell you that any progression in his self-confidence came when I came into his life and started making him feel like he did something, because he grew up under a mom who didn't give him confidence. So at the same token, to your point, when I'm saying fuck your parents, I'm saying it's more of a way to break through to kids to say, look, you need to lean into your truth. You need to, you need to have empathy for why your parents are giving you the advice. But the reality is, this is gonna be your life, and you're gonna have to deal with the ramifications. So, by the way, even though my mom or somebody else who's lucky enough to have a mom instill enormous amounts of self-esteem into them, doesn't mean that same mom may not have an ideological point of view on you being a doctor. So it's not one or the other. They're kind of like carved out separate things. And back to the point of all of this, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I'm really excited about clarifying in the next half decade is, look, I don't think I'm right about anything. I think that I'm right for me. I read a lot of feedback, and these are observations from one man's point of view, and then you need to take it and understand what to do with it. One of the things I'm most passionate about right now is there's a lot of cultures, especially in Asia and India and other places, where not listening to your parents is a massive disrespect, massive problem. It's being disobedient. The amount of times that I've seen the word not behaving and being disobedient and has been unbelievable in the last 2-3 months. They're like, Gary, you don't understand, like, I can't do that, like, that is just like a death blow. And I'm like, you don't understand. That's exactly what you need to do, because here's the alternative. You're gonna be 39 years old, walk into your parents' fucking living room for some nice tea and tell them to go fuck themselves and never talk to them again. I'm trying to save relationships by telling people to fight their parents now, because what always happens in this scenario is it dies later. Right? Then they marry somebody, that spouse loves them and is like, don't let your parents control your life. It becomes all fucked up with the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law and the brother, like, right? Like, fuck. Yeah. What's way better is go do what you want to do, but then deal with the ramifications. The other shoe in my conversation of go do what you want is, if you go on and fail, you have to give the point to the parents. That's the part that nobody wants to hear of. Like go fuck your parents is super fun. Yeah. When your parents wanted you to do something, but you didn't have self-awareness and you just wanted to be like me, and you started a fucking startup company and you fail, you have to be okay with going back and not necessarily saying your parents were right, because you never wanted to be a doctor, but acknowledging you lost. Yeah. Like, delusion doesn't work. It leads to depression, right? Like, you have to be okay with like taking a reset. And that's something people fear. The biggest problem with people consuming me, the fight against the machine, is they inherently don't know what to do, and will they be successful at it. It's really fun to be like, don't listen to your parents, and go and crush it and win. That sounds great. What about, don't listen to your parents who put a roof under your head, who love you, who you love. You want to be a filmmaker and you lose. And now you have to come with tail between your legs at 29 in the culture and the subculture, the culture of your usually your background, and the subculture of your family. Everybody's scared. My big thing, my driving infrastructure is, when I tell you I lost, I don't care what you say. I lost. You suck. See, even this whole thing, the whole thing crashes down, right? The amount of judgment would be deafening. Your dad loves you way more than he wants you to appease him. No matter what you believe. And I think the sooner you can have an honest conversation, like a real honest one, the sooner you can start doing. You may have a conversation with your dad this summer where you get really real off the momentum of this, and you may realize when you're done with it that, fuck, you actually want to be a CFO. The key is to just have the conversation. You love your parents?
Absolutely.
I figured, based on your vibe, if you don't do what you want to do, you're going to end up regretting it, which is then going to manifest at being mad at them, and you are doing a greater disservice to the relationship of you and your parents by not doing what you want to do than by doing what they want you to do. There's a seed of what you actually want to do. You're hiding that seed because you love your parents so much, right?
Sure.
You're going to then do that, and then you're going to be 42 and not have the chance to do your thing, and you're gonna be mad at them, and you're gonna blame them for it, and then it's gonna hurt your relationship, not help it.
Understood.
That's it. So
that's real.
It's really real, and it's like, it's the biggest advice I give to kids. I love my parents too, like fucking, I love, like, I think you're coming from a great place. You just don't realize yet what the cost of suppressing your own wants and desires, how it manifests.
Okay.
And that's how it's gonna manifest. So you gotta get that thought.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
My pleasure.